Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
And for me, I think the book is always the classic example of this. So I don't mind talking about myself, and honestly, when I set out to write a book, it was not initially a memoir. I was going to write a book about figures from history, such as Ossietzky, such as Harriet Tubman in the United States, who helped runaway slaves. People who were figures of conscience that were breaking the law in order to serve a greater good. But the publisher said, of course, we'd like something more personal. And so this is where I realized that same method of storytelling was maybe something that could serve the public interest here. So this book, while it is certainly a memoir of how I became who I am as a person, it's actually larger. It's a dual history. It's the story of a person, but more centrally, and I think more importantly, it's the story of time and a change in technology, and perhaps an argument for how we can retrieve so much of the power that has been stolen from us, both by corporations and governments. The greatest regret of my life is how easily I was transformed into a tool of factions in my country's government. Not even the government itself, but factions within my country's government, who were pursuing this neoconservative and then neoliberal strategy to dominate the world. And I did this quite unskeptically because I grew up in a culture and in a family that believed the United States government was the greatest force for good in the history of the world. In a free country, you're not supposed to trust a government. The government is always supposed to be fighting a losing battle to persuade the people of a free society that the authority that they seek, that the spending they desire, that the policy that they like is necessary. And they should win just by the skin of their teeth, by the tiniest margin, convince us to agree with them. Because then we have a government that only does what it must. Then we have a government that does what is necessary to protect the common welfare, right? Instead of doing everything that it can. It's okay for people to have differing opinions about what I did. It's okay for people to disagree about whether I'm a good or bad guy. These disagreements are actually important. They're useful for democracy because our disagreements produce better outcomes. It is that conversation, it is that argument that allows us to distance the true from the false, the fact from the feeling. And we live in a time, unfortunately, where feelings have become so much more important than fact. It is the press's role in a free society to make government uncomfortable. And if the government wants to say the work of journalism is dangerous, if it wants to say the things that a whistleblower says are dangerous or have caused harm, I would hope that in at least 6 years they can show us evidence for it. Thank you.